So I would say that in all of my roles, but let's talk about the last two public company CFO roles. I have been on weekly revenue calls with the teams every week for years. That is how I keep my finger on where customers are, where opportunities are progressing or not progressing, where there's any help that we can give them. So that the operating mechanism is really being part of that weekly working session, so that we're clearing any hurdles and we make sure that we're doing what we can to support the sales team in acquiring customers. It's hard to get people to do their research. We work very hard to make sure that we're able to share with customers and investors what capabilities we think make Amprius so unique. I think people do not understand fully two things that hamper us. Number one, that we've been in the market shipping batteries since 2018. So our flagship customer was Airbus. So we've got 6 years of manufacturing experience under our belt. We're not a lab curiosity. Our revenues have been very small because we haven't invested in mass production yet, but we're working on that. I think the second thing is the fact that we went into aviation first, which people might view as a niche market, but it's a multi-billion-dollar market for unmanned aerial vehicles and drones. There's not a news story that you see that doesn't have a component of a satellite or a drone, whether it's commercial or military. And I think people view aviation for batteries as a niche, but it's really a very significant market opportunity in our eyes. We have first mover advantage, especially with a lot of the military applications. We're not under the constant cost or price pressures. It's really about the performance and somewhere where we're unique and where we can offer a product that nobody else can today. I think the core of who you are drives what you gravitate towards as well. I tend to look for the tougher assignments. I tend to look for things that I can really make an impact on. I remember I was interviewing for a job once, and I asked one of the executives, this is one of my tried and true questions, what is success in 3 or 6 months? So we're sitting here having coffee, Jack, and in 6 months you say, boy, am I glad you joined, because these are the things I saw happen. And when I asked the question, they said, well, 6 months might be a little bit fast. Let's talk about what success is in 9 months or a year. And that to me was a little bit of a yellow flag, because I'm not, I gravitate towards those things where I need to be able to slipstream into an organization and make progress and feel like I have an impact relatively quickly. And if the status quo is good and don't make too many changes, that's probably not a good cultural fit for me. For the coming 12 months, my general rule is I want to make sure that finance and accounting are never gating factors for business growth. We're looking at some very significant revenue inflections as we build our customer pipeline, and I want to future-proof our organization to make sure that we're ready to sprint when the company's ready to sprint. So a lot of the priorities that we're talking about, I've hired the first VP of legal, I've hired the first HR director. As we look to sprint, I want to make sure that we've got those foundational anchors and that we can move fast. So from looking within my team, I would say those are the priorities. For the company in total, we need to make sure that we're well capitalized and that we hit the growth targets and expectations that our investors are looking for.
Sandra Wallach, thank you for joining us on CFO Thought Leader.
Thanks, Jack.